Good morning, students. In this E-class of BND Government Arts College, Chamanpura, BA Part 3rd, Paper 1st, we have been doing Girish Karnad's play, Tughlaq. Tughlaq is a famous play by Girish Karnad, and it explores the personality and conflicts in the character of Muhammad bin Tughlaq. Girish Karnad's play Tughlaq is about Muhammad bin Tughlaq, one of the most fascinating kings to occupy the throne in Delhi. He ruled for 26 years, and even though he was a man of great ideas, great vision, and he was a great scholar, but his reign was also an abject failure. He started his rule with great ideas of the unity of Hindus and Muslims and of building a unified state, but in a span of 20 years, it all fell into pieces. So, in the earlier scene, in scene 2nd, we had seen Tughlaq, who was playing the game of chess. And how crafty player he is, that he can hold his own against his enemies, is reflected in scene 3rd and scene 4th. Scene 3rd, the action takes place in the big yard in front of the big mosque in Delhi. The characters in this scene are Muhammad bin Tughlaq and Sheikh Imamuddin. Sheikh Imamuddin and Ain al-Mulk, they are referred to indirectly in the earlier scenes. And we know that Ain al-Mulk, he is marching ahead with 30,000 soldiers, and Tughlaq, he is lacking in the strength to combat these 30,000 soldiers. On the other hand, Sheikh Imamuddin, he is addressed as an orthodox Muslim who is thoroughly opposed to the liberal policies of Tughlaq. And he goes from place to place and he incites people against Sultan. Now, we do not know that what are the plans and what are the moves of Muhammad bin Tughlaq to deal with Sheikh Imamuddin and Ain al-Mulk. This particular scene, scene 3rd, and the following scene, it reflects how craftily or how intelligently, how shrewdly, how malignantly Tughlaq deals with his opponents and the various intrigues that are there in the play. This is one of them. So, this meeting is organized by Muhammad bin Tughlaq, and Tughlaq very shrewdly traps Sheikh Imamuddin by inviting him to Delhi. Now, earlier we had been told that Sheikh Imamuddin, he has a big public appeal, and people, they are incited into action against Sultan whenever they listen to Sheikh Imamuddin. And Sheikh Imamuddin, he blames Tughlaq for acting against Islam, and he also blames Tughlaq for patricide and fratricide, means killing his father and his brother, and also polluting the prayer because the murder has been planned during prayer time. One more important aspect of this entire event is that Sheikh Imamuddin strongly resembles Muhammad bin Tughlaq, and how craftily this resemblance is to be utilized for his personal gain is something that scene 3rd and scene 4th reflects. So, when the curtain rises, this meeting, it has been organized, we come to know that the meeting has been organized by Tughlaq for Sheikh Imamuddin, and he holds this public meeting to honor the saint Sheikh Imamuddin, who is respected all over India as a saint and one who stands in the grace of Allah. So, in this meeting, he used to address people and would analyze Tughlaq's administration and show where Tughlaq has gone wrong. So, for the sake of the country, for the sake of the welfare of people, and for the sake of Islam, Sheikh Imamuddin is to guide Tughlaq by addressing this meeting. Now, the irony is that both of them, they are sitting alone on stage and none of the person actually turns up to listen to Sheikh Imamuddin. Now, Sultan, he expresses his regret that for a saint like him, none of the public or none of the person has turned up to listen to him. And Sheikh Imamuddin says that you should be very happy about it that nobody has turned up, because I'm very honest about my speech and about my oration, and whatever I would speak, it would be against your policies and against your rule. So Sultan says that means this is something which is intolerable to me, that nobody has turned up. So let's now call the amirs and the sheikhs and the courtiers and the sardars to listen to this address. And Sheikh Imamuddin says that means my address is not for the bootlickers, means it is not for the flatterers of the king. There's no sense speaking up to the courtiers, to the sheikhs, to the amirs, who are basically the king's man. I want to interact with the general public who are willing to act and who can do something for Islam. When Tughlaq says that he has not violated the tenets or the teachings of Islam, Sheikh Imamuddin says that you are a scholar, no doubt. And when Tughlaq acquired the throne, Sheikh Imamuddin said that because of his power, because of his learning, because of his intelligence, because of his talent, it was expected that a king like him would spread Islam far and wide, the teachings of Islam far and wide. But on the other hand, by putting the Sayyids and the ulemas behind the bar, not listening to them, he is just acting against the teachings of Islam. And this is the greatest sin. To which Tughlaq says that Sheikh and ulemas, they are in prison because they try to meddle into politics, and there should be a clear distinction between religion and politics. Now, Tughlaq comes out with his motive. When Sheikh Imamuddin says that I would go to marketplaces and to other places to address people in general, to the public, Tughlaq says that from now onwards, when people would come to know that this meeting for Sheikh Imamuddin was organized by the king, a doubt would crop up in the general minds that Sheikh Imamuddin is working secretly for the king. And there is a close association between king and Sheikh Imamuddin. So from now onwards, Sheikh Imamuddin would be considered as a spy. And people no longer would believe in him as they used to believe earlier. Sheikh Imamuddin, he is left with no alternative. And Tughlaq proposes to him to act as a spy, to act as a messenger and give the message of peace to Ain al-Mulk, who is marching ahead to Delhi with 30,000 soldiers. And the claim that he makes is that if Ain al-Mulk attacks Delhi, and if there is a war which happens, then it would mean killing of Muslim by another Muslim. So that would be a slaughtering of Muslims by another Muslim. And in all your speeches, you're talking about saving Islam and you're talking about the welfare of Muslims. So this is an opportunity which I am giving. You just have this message of peace delivered to Ain al-Mulk, and we can save Muslims, and you can actually prove it with your practice. When Tughlaq asked him to visit Ain al-Mulk with a proposal for peace, Sheikh Imamuddin, he does not have any alternative left. And as soon as he agrees, he orders for the royal robes for Sheikh Imamuddin, which he has already got ready, and he places the headdress on the head of the Sheikh. So, Sheikh is asked to be dressed as a royal person and is sent on an elephant. Tughlaq makes sure that he looks exactly like him. Now we come to know that this is done with an intention of combating malignantly with Ain al-Mulk and also getting rid of Sheikh Imamuddin, who has been inciting people and exciting them to revolt against the king. So how this resemblance is for his own ends, for his own selfish ends, is to be utilized by Tughlaq is unfolded in scene 4th of the play. So very shrewdly, Sheikh Imamuddin is trapped in this scene, and Tughlaq very intelligently would be able to win over both Sheikh Imamuddin and Ain al-Mulk in the later course of the play. So in this scene, we are introduced to Sheikh Imamuddin. Sheikh Imamuddin is considered to be the chief agent in inciting people against Tughlaq, his ideas and his policies. When the scene opens, both Sheikh and Tughlaq, they are waiting in front of a mosque for the anticipated audience, but none of the person turns up to listen to Sheikh Imamuddin, irrespective of the fact that this meeting has been organized by the king. Later we come to know that what appears to be Tughlaq's openness is, or means his large-heartedness, is in fact a very cunning, a very shrewd, a very contrived political move. Sheikh had always accused Muhammad Tughlaq of being un-Islamic, and in fact in each and every meeting he was accusing Tughlaq of being responsible for the murder of his father and his brother. So to acquire the throne, he has killed his father and his brother, and that too at the time of prayer. So he always had been speaking against Tughlaq, and both of them in this scene, they are actually expressing their opinion about each other. Sheikh Imamuddin, by the end of this scene, realizes that how intelligent or how clever or how shrewd Tughlaq is. He has to agree to the proposal or to the contriving plot of Tughlaq, and he is quite ready to act as a messenger of peace and to be sent to Ain al-Mulk. The scene is a short one, but it throws a light into the character of Muhammad bin Tughlaq. The entire plot has been arranged in such an intelligent way that none of the person turns up to listen to Sheikh Imamuddin, and he has organized this entire event in a way that from now onwards, wherever Sheikh Imamuddin is going to hold a meeting, people would consider Sheikh Imamuddin to be in the side of the king and as a king's man or as a spy of the king. Next, he sends him as a messenger to Ain al-Mulk. During the course of this mission, we would come to know later that Ain al-Mulk, he would be defeated, and in a very contriving way, he would get rid of both Ain al-Mulk and Sheikh Imamuddin. So Tughlaq's intelligence, his craftiness, his shrewdness and his cleverness, it actually is revealed in this scene. Scene 4 takes place in the palace of Tughlaq. In this scene, we are introduced to Shihabuddin and his adopted brother Ratan Singh. Shihabuddin is introduced as a close and trusted friend of Tughlaq, and he has great confidence in him. He is the prince of Sampanshar, and when Tughlaq he has gone along with Sheikh Imamuddin to fight Ain al-Mulk, in his absence he has called Shihabuddin to look after the affairs of Delhi, to which stepmother is very much surprised because there are so many faithfuls in Delhi to look after the affairs of the state. But once she meets Shihabuddin, she is very much pleased that he is quite capable and efficient. Ratan Singh, he is the adopted brother of Shihabuddin. His father had his own Jagir of which he was the king. Shihabuddin's father killed him by treachery and usurped his kingdom. Since then, Ratan Singh bore a grudge against Shihabuddin. Although he has won over the confidence of Shihabuddin, yet he carefully planned his revenge. So as the curtain rises, we see the room in the palace and Shihabuddin is reading the letter, and the stepmother, she comes and she praises Shihabuddin for managing the affairs so well in the absence of Tughlaq. So we come to know that Tughlaq has gone along with Sheikh Imamuddin to fight with Ain al-Mulk, and soon Ratan Singh's arrival is announced. Ratan Singh tells that Tughlaq he is back home. So stepmother, she is a little bit surprised because she does not like this secret way of Tughlaq's return, but she is told that Tughlaq he is very sad, or means he is very much moved by Sheikh Imamuddin's death, and now even we as readers, we come to realize that what plot or what contriving or is what malignant intention Tughlaq had to get rid of Sheikh Imamuddin as well as Ain al-Mulk. So Sultan arrives soon after, and he tells that the death of Sheikh Imamuddin was a terrible sight. And the irony of the situation is when he says that when I looked at Sheikh Imamuddin who was dead, I thought that it was me who was lying dead and that he was standing above me looking at me. Now why is thinking the death of Sheikh Imamuddin as his own as happening to himself? This is something which Ratan Singh he later reveals to Shihabuddin. Ratan Singh tells that Sultan or Tughlaq he is an honest scoundrel who murders a man calmly and then actually enjoys the feeling of guilt. So he says that means Imamuddin, Sheikh Imamuddin, he was sent as an envoy of peace on behalf of Tughlaq, and in his gorgeous dress, the way he was dressed up, the way he was being sent, because of his striking resemblance, he looked very much like Sultan. Now the chess problem means which actually Tughlaq was revealing to stepmother that he has solved the problem. It now appears that why he was sending Sheikh Imamuddin as the peace envoy and why the soldiers with Tughlaq, who were very small in number as compared to 30,000 soldiers of Ain al-Mulk, are going to deal up with Ain al-Mulk. So Imamuddin in his attires, in his robes, looked very much like Tughlaq in his gorgeous way, and he was sitting on the elephant and was going to say something to the enemy when the royal trumpeter sounded the charge. As soon as it was charged, the battle began, and it was begin by Tughlaq's soldiers, not by Ain al-Mulk. The battle started with Tughlaq. The arrows poured into Sheikh, and within minutes he looked a gory human porcupine and fell down from the elephant. The royal army, it was running here and there in confusion, and even they were pleading over his body. The enemy was convinced because they mistook Sheikh Imamuddin as Sultan, so they thought that Sultan is dead, and the soldiers, they started running and they were dispersed. At that particular point, Tughlaq with his few soldiers attacked them from behind. They were hiding in the hills with a large number of soldiers, and Imamuddin, he was murdered. He was murdered in cold blood with this proper plot, with this proper planning, and with this proper contriving. And in this unlawful or means in this artful way, both Sheikh Imamuddin and both Ain al-Mulk, they were won over by Tughlaq. Ratan Singh, by the end of the scene, tells Shihabuddin that all the Amirs and all the Sardars and all the Sayyids, they are all dissatisfied, or they are all complaining in Tughlaq's rule. So he discloses to Shihabuddin that the nobles of the court and all the important and significant citizens of Delhi, they are going to hold a meeting, a very secret meeting, to discuss this entire affair. And when Shihabuddin, he also discloses to Shihabuddin that Ratan Singh was also planned by Tughlaq, means Sultan, means he tried to kill Ratan Singh by putting him in the front row of soldiers. So he asked Shihabuddin, his adopted brother, not to be a mere silent observer of this plot, but to take active participation in the meeting where the Amirs and where the citizens, they are going to meet and they are going to plan against Tughlaq. So the scene throws further light on the crooked ways of Tughlaq. The sudden and unexpected death of Sheikh Imamuddin is announced in this scene, and we understand why Sheikh Imamuddin, he was invited by Tughlaq, why the meeting was organized for him, and why he was left with no choice but just listen to Tughlaq and act as his emissary of peace. So Sultan cunningly plots Sheikh's death in the battlefield, and in this way he also counters Ain al-Mulk and is easily and effortlessly absolved of his guilt. He justifies each and every guilt of his, and this murder by Tughlaq, they tells the reader, or they acquaint the reader with that personality of Tughlaq, the darker side of his character, with his soaring ambitions, and means the crooked ways which Sultan adopts in his day-to-day life. He is really a scoundrel who tries to appear to be honest, but his honesty is just a pose. He favors the Hindus, but he has his own motives of favoring the Hindus, or he has his own motives of shifting the capital from Delhi to Daulatabad. So the scene is an important one, and it tells about the ambitions, it tells about the character, and it tells about the crooked ways of Tughlaq. We are also introduced to Shihabuddin and Ratan Singh. Ratan Singh appears in this scene to be in the sight of his brother Shihabuddin, but even his clever, contrived motives would be unfolded in the later course of the play. So, scene third and scene fourth, they portray Tughlaq as a very crafty intriguer and manipulator. The murder of the sheikh, it leads to the intrigues of the courtiers and other idealists of the kingdom, and this would be unfolded in the later scenes of the play.